The Urmah, Part 1, Prelude and Context from Earth's Culture's Point of View. Hello, welcome to my channel. I hope you are all doing very well today. My name is Mari Swaruu. This information can be taken as science fiction or however the viewer sees best, and it is published for entertainment purposes only, but I take my information very seriously. I must say this not to go against any YouTube regulations. Having the Urmah feline people in my series of videos about extraterrestrial races is an absolute must. The Urmah as an extraterrestrial race have been known on Earth for thousands of years, and they are quite present in the New Age movement, which is highly controlled by governments, centralized religions, and their three-letter intelligence agencies. Something important you should know about these last ones is that they dedicate only from 10 to 15% of their time and resources to doing actual espionage, and the remaining 85 to 90% of their energy is dedicated to manipulating the general population in favor of the agendas the Cabal's overlords desire. Although the Urmah are present in the New Age, they aren't as much as other much more publicized star races, such as the Andromedans, the Sirians, the Arcturians, and the Pleiadians, for example. Taking into account the majestic presence and energy of the Urmah, they don't get much attention, and I think this is because they strongly go against the Earth's Cabal, and the Galactic Federation's intentions and agendas regarding in what direction they want to take society on Earth. As if they would not want to give any publicity to a race which is not following their rules. Yet the internet is full of videos and articles about the Urmah, with various degrees of accuracy. But in general, and with no intention of discrediting anyone, most of them are flat wrong about them. I have been in their presence several times, and I am in contact with one, Arishah, who is even cooperating with me with content for my YouTube channel. Everyone tells me this is the first time an Urmah is communicating almost directly with humankind, and I say almost, because he is still working through me, and not alone. One of the biggest mistakes about the Urmah people is how they are depicted on Earth, as they are basically described as having a humanoid body, with a feline head, hands and feet. This is simply wrong, and it is a product of humans' need to humanize everything, which is not bad, because the Urmah tend to felinize everything. This is most probably coming from ancient Egypt, where some deities were depicted and sculptured with cat-like heads, such as Mafdet, who represents justice, Bastet, who represents fertility, and Sekhmet, who represents power, although the goddess Mut, who represents mother energy, is depicted in ancient Egypt as a cat many times. Mut, in ancient Egyptian, means mother, by the way. Before I continue, notice that justice, fertility, power, and mother protective energy, all are strong Urmah qualities, and a definitive part of their culture. The ancient Egyptians tended to depict images of people, gods, and goddesses with a head of an animal that represented their qualities and abilities, so if someone had the head of a hawk, like Horus, then he could fly. In this case, Horus as a god represents the sun, which flies across the sky. Or the god Inpu, better known as Anubis, who is represented with the head of a jackal, is the god of the dead, of death and the afterlife. Anubis is associated with a jackal because those animals were commonly seen lurking around cemeteries, and were known to unearth shallow graves to eat the corpse, and in the wild, they also tend to be scavengers, eating any dead animal they can find, often feasting from the leftovers of lions' prey. Another example is the Egyptian god, Sobek, represented with the head of a crocodile, because he is associated with such animals that were very common in the River Nile, especially in the higher parts of it. Therefore Sobek is depicted as a positive god of fertility, vegetation, and giver of life. Because the ancient Egyptians associated the presence of crocodiles as the responsible ones for making the river Nile rise during the rainy season, nurturing the fertile ground around its banks, therefore promoting the growth of crops the Egyptians needed as food. Sobek is often used as circumstantial proof that reptilian humanoids exist, not only because of his reptile head, but because he is associated as the giver of life. Therefore he is linked to the genetic manipulation, or with the total creation of humankind, as said in some of the interpretations of the Sumerian tablets. They should not be taken as truth only because they contradict the official narratives, both the religious and the scientific ones as well, as they were also written with the same exact intention as the holy scriptures of any established religion, and that is to control and manipulate the general population. Mind controlling the people with imposed false narratives and lies is not new. It has existed since long ago, and any ancient text should be taken and studied with the same degree of skepticism and caution as any other. From my point of view, it is very clear that humans were not created on Earth, simply because I know such Illyrian human species is very prolific, and therefore it is present in countless planets all over the galaxy and in the hundreds of thousands, at least. And any degree of genetic manipulation, although possible, and even proven so, does not explain the human origin as such, and it would only partially limit human attributes, as DNA does have the strong tendency to revert all changes back to its original blueprint, as will be explained in another future video. From my understanding, and that of my culture, any artificial genetic changes done to Earth humans are doubtful, or dubious at best, and do not represent any real physical limiting effect for the general population, as most of the limiting is done with mind control alone, which is more than enough for the intentions of the controllers of Earth to fulfill their population control plans. Even more so, mind control and perception management are all that they need to cause genetic changes in the subjects they want to control, as mind and consciousness are what activate or deactivate genes, as explained in detail in the modern science of epigenetics. When it comes to Egyptology, having the head of an animal does not mean that such person or deity literally had the head of that animal, rather it is simply a representation of the qualities and the abilities of that particular person or deity, which are associated with the ones of such animal. Having said this, there is also evidence that several animal-looking star races did, in fact, visit and had a lot of influence over ancient Egypt, yet according to Taygeta and Federation archives, this occurred in the times of Old Egypt, well before Classic, wrongly called, Pharaonic Egypt that inherited much of the most impressive structures still standing today, such as the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx, which is again associated with the Urmah people, although in reverse as it is depicted with the head of a human and the body of a lion. The Sphinx is looking east as the Egyptians worship the sun, and it represents the Egyptian New Year when the river Nile grows and fertilizes the farmable land. The rear of the Sphinx represents Leo, and the human face represents Virgo. According to my stellar information, the Urmah had a lot of influence in the ancient starport and mostly underground Federation base and city, whose ruins are still found under the Giza Plateau. Closely studying Mafdet, Bastet, Sekhmet and Mart, I can clearly see a strong Urmah personality in them, which leads me to think that their depiction in classic ancient Egypt did come from direct Urmah heritage, and not only as the result of associating lion attributes to those deities. And as I said at the beginning of this video, the near absence of such a dominant race in modern Earth popular culture makes me think that the Cabal is downplaying the presence and influence of the Urmah, as they are nearly impossible to find outside limited New Age circles. Although an example of them in pop culture would be the old cartoons of the Thundercats, who as positive protectors of humankind against evil forces, do have a strong Urmah flavor. Still, they again are depicted with a human body. It is only genetic logic to see that if someone has the head of a cat, then that someone would also have the body of a cat, and this is the case with the Urmah, as they are semi-bipedal large cats, with feline bodies, with long spines, and short muscular legs, and a tail, as would be expected. Although the Urmah are the best known, advanced feline in space, there are countless other advanced feline species which are lesser known, and with smaller bodies, similar to those of a lynx. And all of them are known by the Urmah who protect them, and have them as members of their extra-large Urmah Federation's High Council. The Urmah are by far the most dominant species of space cats there is, and we will have a closer look at them and their society in the second part of this video. As always, thank you for watching my video, and for liking and subscribing, and I hope to see you here next time. Take care. With much love, your friend, Mari Swaruu.